Hello, hello. Welcome back to the show. I'm loving this new format. For those of you who are listening to the audio, we're now back on YouTube. So, welcome, those of you on YouTube, to my office. Okay, today, what we are going to talk about is team. And for the next few solo episodes, actually, I think maybe there's 3 or 4, we are going to be talking about team because one, this is really misunderstood. And I feel that there's a really big shift towards, I mean, of course, there's a big shift towards AI, but team and AI in combination is amazing. And so I want to talk about a self-led team and how specifically from an agency freelancer model, you can remove yourself from the day-to-day so that your team can support you, so that you get the freedom that you started your business for in the first place. And even if it is just you right now, probably especially if it's only just you solo in your business right now, this is really important to be thinking about, to be planning for, because the decisions that we make in our business actually move us somewhere. The actions that we take, and we want to be making sure we're walking up the right mountain. So having clarity around what you want for your business, for your life is, and I know for your life sounds really big, but that's what we do here, is plan really big, because knowing we get to take control of that is kind of half the battle. So what I want to talk about is self-led team. And before we can really talk about it, we need to know what that means for us, because what that means for me and what that means for you might be different. And there might be different phases on that journey as well. There will be different phases on that journey as your revenue increases, as your team grows and changes, depending on what your goal is. And so that's what we need to know. We really need to define our North Star. Our North Star is 5 business decisions that we need to make in order to know what we're building. And we do this inside my free guide, the 6-Figure Freelancer Guide. If you want a copy of that, come and DM me 6FF. So three things, the number 6, the letter F, and the letter F again. And I will send you the link for the 6-Figure Freelancer Guide, where you can learn how to craft your North Star. It will ask you 5 questions and you get to decide. This is around who you want to work with, what you want to charge, how much money you want to take home, the problem you want to solve. Like, this is getting really nitty gritty around designing your offer, because everything is going to stem from there. Once you know what the optimal offer is, and not what you're just doing now or what you've said yes to, but the type of clients that light you up, that you're really excited to get on a call with, the type of clients that it's challenging work, but it's elevating you as a service provider. It's allowing you to do great work. It's not just scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and, pay some bills. This is thinking bigger about, who do I want to work with? What's the kind of work I want to be doing? What's something I'm going to be proud of doing and excited to do really longer term? And what do I want to be known for? That's what we're doing here. We're designing our business to give us the life that we want, both professionally and personally. And that process, really defining that, is so important, because once we know the type of life we want to live and the type of income we want to earn and how we're going to do that, then we can figure out the team that we need to support us. For example, if you are wanting to earn $500,000 a year, that means you have at least $1 million a year business, because we don't get to take home all of everything that we make. Hopefully we know that. We don't get to take home everything that we make. And if you know that you want to earn 500,000 and you only want to work a few hours a week, you want to work 10, 15, 20 hours a week, we need a plan that is going to accommodate both of those things. And for me, that plan means also the work that I'm doing is not everything. I don't want to be doing writing every single social media post for every client. I don't want to be checking every analytical data. I don't want to be reading every single email. There's certain things that I love doing in my business, and there's certain things I don't. And the ones that I don't are the ones that I outsource and I get team to do, because they still need to be done. So for me, for the life and the business that I want, I have to have a small boutique team. At the moment, there's 5 of us. So, and that at the moment is working magically. I love this number of team. We all are in our zone of genius. It means that I can't take on more agency clients, but that's fine because I don't want to and I don't need to. And so you need to know where that sweet spot is for you, what that North Star is for you. And once you do, you figure out the team that you need to support it. Like, I know that I don't want to be doing tech support. Therefore, I need someone to do tech. I need someone to do the automations. I know that I don't want to be doing, all of the calendaring and the customer service. Therefore, I have an executive assistant. I know that I don't want to be doing all of the sales and DMs for clients. Therefore, I have social seller on my team that does that for clients, that also does copywriting for social media posts and all of that. So knowing the service that you want to provide and knowing the tasks that need to be done and knowing what you want to do and what you don't is where we need to start. It sounds really obvious, but often we just start running and we get a client ad here, there, and everywhere, and we're saying yes and we're doing the work and it's not planned, and all of a sudden we're just running from here, there, and everywhere, and there's no structure. And we finally pop our head up 6 months later and we're going, oh, okay, this is not what I want to keep doing forever. We don't want to get there. We want to plan in advance. So we figure out our North Star, we figure out our org chart for now or soon, and then for later. Because if you're building $1 million, $5 million, $10 million business, it's going to look different than it does at 100,000 or 500,000 than it will look at 5 million. So it's okay to have multiple org charts of where you're planning. It'll probably shift. That's okay. We're not after perfection here. We're just after knowing the types of decisions we are expecting to make, and knowing that anything that comes across our desk, if it's not in alignment with that North Star, if it's not in alignment with that organizational chart and what we want to be doing, then we say no. And that can be really hard sometimes, but that's okay to say no. From there, from our org chart, from the one that you're working towards right now, we need to know the activities that each person's going to be doing and the key performance indicators that show us that that person is doing a good job. Now, in my company, what I was taught and what I try to integrate is that each one of my team members makes me 4 times what I pay them. And that structure allows you to pay them. Now, I learned this off Callie Roach. You will probably know that I very much admire Callie Roach. And this is something that I learned from her, that when you are charging 4 times, when that person is making you 4 times what they're costing you, you pay for them, you get to invest in them, you get the profit to invest in the next person in your business, you get to have space to grow. Without that, there's not enough buffer, there's not enough margin for you to scale and make that a repeatable process. Now, this looks different for every role, right? Some of them you're going to be outsourcing. You're going to be outsourcing your staff to your clients. And so if I pay my staff $50 an hour, then that means effectively I need to charge $200 an hour. Now, we don't charge $200. We don't charge hourly. We charge per package. And so it's all an approximate, but I know that if I'm going to charge a certain amount for my team, and then I need to charge a certain amount for, and I know kind of how much time they're going to spend on that client for the month, then I can put together a package based on the value that that package brings. Now, are some months going to be better than others? Definitely. If a campaign's going to crap and it's not working, guess what? We lean in, we do more work, we wear it. If we're not being good at our job, we're not being good at our job. So that's on me, that's on our team to make that campaign perform and to lean in. If that campaign is rolling really well, if it's a client that we've had for 5, 6, 7 years, then we know them really well. We're probably spending less time on those clients. And so therefore, it all comes out in the wash. The value for that client is still there to be paying what they're paying because they're getting the result, the outcome that they wanted. Internally, no one needs to know that. All that we need to know is that roughly we're spending on staff a quarter of what the staff are making us. Now, in the case of my EA, she's not directly making me money because I'm not outsourcing her services for a fee. What she is doing though is she's freeing me up to be able to make more sales. She's freeing me up to do content, to do revenue generating activities, and making me 4x more efficient in the work that I do. So therefore, it's totally worth it. Because if I charge $800 for an hour consultation, but I'm doing tasks that are $40, $50 an hour, then that's not a good use of my time if I could make $800 an hour. What I also love about team is that the ripple effect of having team is like, one, we will never know. One, it means that you are happier and more content in business when you're not doing all the things. I have met so many people that don't want team, that don't want to manage team, but I have never met somebody who also wants to do every single thing in their business. And so you don't have to have a huge team, but figure out the support that's going to allow you to be your best at work and personally, because you're not stressed out. You're not like have this massive mental load and you're disconnected while you're with your kids and you're thinking about work. What is that level of team that is going to allow you to be your best? That ripple effect's amazing. Then the ripple effect that has on your family and friends, the ripple effect for your employee, that you're actually funding someone else's family, and the ripple effect of where that money goes and how they can then support other local businesses and things with that. Like the ripple effect of making money is like, it just lights me up so much. The possibility and the impact that we're having as business leaders that give a crap is just like the magic of business, right? I love it. Like I kind of even don't know what to say any more than that. So I'm going to leave it there. Anyway, coming back to team and having KPIs, because we need to know that this person is doing their job in terms of moving the business forward. And whether that's for your clients or for yourself, having KPIs, key performance indicators, knowing the activities that they need to be doing and having the metrics, the specific metric goals that are attached to that is how we make sure that that person is an investment and not a cost. Now, this is really important for the sustainability and scalability of the business. If our people are just costing us money, then it's a drain, it's a hole in the bucket. So for example, back four years ago, around about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I hired someone to do social selling for me in my business. So I hired somebody to get inside my DMs on Facebook. At the time, I was running lots of ads to a Facebook group. There was lots of online conversation. And I don't enjoy being on my phone. I love do voice message DMs on Instagram. So, hey, come hit me up and say hello. But the constant messages and replying to comments and DMs and that kind of thing, it really drains my energy being on my phone, particularly. That's just not something that I like doing. And so I outsourced it. I had a framework. I said, send people who join the group this message. This is how you're going to convert them. This is what you're going to move them into. And for 3 months, I paid her I gave her training that I'd got from a very expensive mastermind, and not one sale, right? Not one sale. So what I learned in that was, one, I need to actually know what good looks like in order to teach somebody, not their fault that I just handballed that, was like, hey, you do that thing. I don't want to think about it. That's not a reflection on them. That's really a reflection on me. but also knowing that there needs to be metrics. Like, we could have picked it up earlier, and we did have some metrics, but to be honest, I wasn't really tracking them as much as I could. I really knew that I didn't know what to do, and so I was a bit more lax in that. But knowing that, knowing exactly what activity needed to be done. So for example, okay, I want you to outreach to connect with 50 people on LinkedIn every week, and I want you to start 20 conversations, and I want you to do 30 minutes every day of like commenting on people's LinkedIn posts or whatever it is. Actually having numbers around that, so you know that you can see the activities that are getting done. So you know the result. Is it just that the activity wasn't getting done if we didn't get the result? Or do we have to shift our expectations around activity? Do we have to double activity? Are you actually achieving the results that we thought you would in order to 4x what I pay you? And so again, it's going to look really different in terms of the KPIs, the metrics that you have for each person, but having them nevertheless. So for example, we do podcast outreach for some of our clients, knowing, okay, you've got a goal that you need to outreach to this many podcasts per week. We're aiming for this many replies. Having KPIs around time replying to emails, making sure that every email gets replied to within 24 hours. There's certain metrics that you're going to want to have for each client, certain metrics around quality, around spelling mistakes even. Like, we had that at one point where we were doing a lot of social media for clients with our VA agency. That was something that kept coming up. We had to introduce metrics for that. So once you have these metrics, then both you and the team member know what good looks like, and you can empower them to then make decisions around how they achieve those metrics. That brings me to the training, mentoring, coaching framework. Now, I'm just going to bring it up on my iPad so I can speak to it properly. And I think if I show it, it's going to end up backwards, probably. Anyway, it looks a little bit like this. So it's for those of you on audio, it's a tiered progression. We teach this inside Agency Academy, which is our 12-month plus program for agency owners who are wanting to scale to $1 million a year and above. This is the framework for bringing new team members into the business. It starts at training, it moves into mentoring phase, and then from coaching. But there's 7 systems within it. As their trust increases, their responsibility increases. So at the start, that means they're doing exactly what you want them to do. You're saying, do it as I tell you to do it. They're copying the KPI, the checklist and everything exactly. They're doing it exactly as you want them to do it. From there, you get them to look into things for you, like do research, and so that you can make a decision. The next step of that training phase, moving into mentoring, is when you get them to give you your opinion on things. And so you're moving from do it exactly as I say to what do you think about this? Then you move further into, okay, do this thing, but check in with me. What about then you can okay, do your work autonomously within these kind of limits. Moving all the way into when you're kind of coaching them and they've been with you for a while and you trust them to go, okay, take action and let me know what you did. And then finally going, just take care of this for me. And where you kind of don't care about how they do it because you trust that they're going to make the right decision. What I see a lot of people do is they, like me, with this social seller that I hired, was just like, here, handball, done, don't worry about it. That was the take care of this for me. I moved to 7 when I should have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's something that I see a lot. And it's something that if you're not taught and you don't see it in this way, if you want this PDF, this is part of our program, like I mentioned, just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll screenshot and I'll send it to you. But it's really helpful to then come up with a training plan for any new team member moving through this process. You can say, okay, for this role, this section looks like this. And you then have a goal and a framework for releasing this person to be self-led. And that's where you get the freedom. That's where you get to go on holidays. Sorry, bear with me. That's where you get to go on holidays. That's where you get to trust that things are getting done in the way that you would do them. That's where you let people make mistakes and then learn from them and get up. And that's going to happen. And yeah, some of those things are going to cost you money. Just, we chose to be a CEO. It's not smooth sailing. Your staff will at some point probably cost you clients. Yes, that has happened to me. Yes, that has happened to me, right? It's probably happened to most people. Most conversations that I have with people, with teams, they have a lot of financial loss when it comes to empowering their team. But the alternative is that you never get a break. You never get the freedom and the profit that you want from your business. So yes, your team are going to cost you money, but ultimately they're going to give you more money and more freedom than they're going to cost you. But it's not smooth sailing for anyone. You're not doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong, right? Or if you are, there's systems where you get to learn how to do it right. And still within that, you're going to have wrong hires. You're going to have like just life happen to you and to your team. And it's messy, but we didn't really get into business for it to be easy, or we don't stick around in business if we want it to be easy. All right, from there, we have our metrics. We then want to make sure that we're doing weekly one-on-ones where it's appropriate, weekly team meetings. Probably most of us will be doing weekly team meetings at least, and having daily metrics that are collected weekly, or you look at them weekly so that you can pick up anything that is not happening quickly. Because if you are paying somebody to do a certain task and they're not doing the task, then there's something in the way there. Either they don't know how to do it, they don't want to do it, they don't know, there's some block that you get to release for them when you empower them to figure out how to make that happen. And that's really the last point, right? It's how do we empower our team? It's that we free them up to make mistakes. We free them up to make decisions for themselves within a framework, within the training, mentoring, coaching framework. There is a process where we let the lead out a little bit. And I know that sounds a little bit horrendous, but initially we want them really close to us because we're protecting our business, we're protecting our profit. We're also keeping them close so that they get the best support possible and they do feel supported to succeed, because our staff do want to succeed and we need to set them up for success. That is our job. So when we empower them, we need to connect that to what they want. So knowing what your staff want is going to make this so much easier. It's going to build rapport. It's going to keep them around for longer. It's going to make them excited to show up because it's leading them to what they want. So is that a bonus? Is it flexible work hours? Is it that they get to do more training? Is it that they get to just do the role that they love to do? Like, what is that thing that they want? It's going to be really individual. And again, I think it was in the last podcast I mentioned, every week we send out a survey to our staff and get in touch base on how the work is, how the morale is, how they doing. And knowing that every week, when you know what they want, it'll know whether you're trending towards giving them what they want or not. But that empowerment, that letting go is really necessary for them to succeed and soar and for you to step back, which is what this whole thing's about, right? How do we get a self-led team? This is how. Determine what we want, determine the team that we need, the right people in the right roles, determine the metrics that show that they need to hit in order for us to get our goals, and having the systems to teach them and show them and train them and coach them to maintain that and stay there, that is linked to what they want. Linked to what they want. Otherwise, they're going to leave. So that's it. That's the self-led team. That's where we're going. Let me know what you're excited about, what you're challenged by. If you would like to have a more in-depth, really dive deep into doing this in your team, then come and ask me about Agency Academy. I'll let you know exactly what we do there, how we can help you. That's it from me. Have a wonderful, fabulous day, and I'll see you on the next one.